Hello back. Before we move on to the next section, I want to show you a very important tool for every web developer, the Google Chrome Developer Tools. These powerful tools are built right into Google Chrome and can be used to analyze and correct HTML and CSS code, to optimize our web page, and so much more. Also, remember what I told you earlier about learning about other web pages? Here is the right tool to do just that. So let's see how we can use the Chrome Developer Tools. Actually, if I just open the Developer Tools in the window which has a live connection with brackets, which is exactly this one, that connection will get lost. That is pretty annoying, but instead I can open the HTML file in the usual way, and then none of that will happen. So I'll just open the folder, and here are all the files we created so far, and I will open this with Google Chrome. Right, here we go. Now the Google Chrome Developer Tools are all about inspecting elements. So if we right click here on this main heading H1 element and hit Inspect Element, we see the Chrome tools down here. And this is the H1 element I just selected. So here we have all the HTML code, and as we hover the different elements, you see that in Google Chrome it shows us which element we are inspecting. And on the right side we have all the CSS properties, and we can turn these off and on to see what happens if these properties are active or not active. And we can actually change some things. Say we want this 45 or 48 or 60, just to see how it looks like. Of course, none of these changes will be reflected in the actual code, which means if I just refresh this page, it looks exactly as it looked before. Another useful thing is when I have this selected, you see that the H1 element has this blue area, which is the content. Remember the box model? So the blue is the content, and the orange one is the margin. So that orange is these 20 pixels margin bottom, right? And this is the blog post div, and if you remember, we set a right padding to 30 pixels, and that 30 pixels is that green area we see. So this can be pretty useful, and actually we have the box model also down here. So when we have a bigger web page, this can be pretty useful to inspect all our elements. So this is our web page. Now remember, we can also do the same thing with other websites to see how they work. This is the Square website that I used before in some design lectures. Imagine we want to know how this button here works. So I will do inspect element, and then I have the code, the HTML code, and here on the right side we can see the HTML attributes. So the color, the background color. So these strike through here means that this property is not active. It means that it has been overwritten by something else. So this is the background color. We can turn it off and on and see what happens. And what else is here? So this is the margin. We can turn it off and on as well. And here we see, for example, that this button uses a border radius of 3 pixels. If you were just curious how this was designed. And the font family is Square Market, and the font size is 11 pixels. So you see, this is pretty useful to find out about anything that you want to know about other web pages. For example, inspect this element. Here you see, you can inspect all the HTML code. So they have different divs here, and then this H3 with this particular color. And you know, I use this a lot to see what other websites are doing right. Okay, this was just a very basic introduction, but we will see more applications of the developer tools later on. And this was actually the last lecture in the introductory CSS section. Wow, you learned such a lot so far. Congratulations. And I'm really happy and grateful that you're still with me on this journey. You're good to go for our killer website project that we will start in a moment. But wait, first I have another nice little quiz for you again. Good luck with that, and see you in the next section.